Hi, and welcome to this short presentation on 4 parts of a thesis statement. What is a thesis? Simply, a thesis is a statement that indicates what you're going to write about, what you will say about what you're going to write about, and how you're going to say it. Typically, you'll use primary sources for this information, whether it's a short story or a poem or a play, but you will also use secondary sources, perhaps like academic journals or critical examinations of the text. Thesis should come at the end of the introduction, after you have grabbed the reader's attention to get him or her interested in what you have to say. This way, the reader knows what to expect in the rest of your paper. Thesis has 4 main parts. The first part is the topic. Topic is what you're going to write about. Who is that guy? Well, you should know that that's Hamlet. Next is the claim. The claim is what you're going to say about that topic.
To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune,
or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing in them to die, to sleep no more.
The claim is to be or not to be speech raises a moral problem of life and death in the play Hamlet. All right, so the next key point is support. What support will you use? Well, the support is evidence from the text that you'll use to make your point. So in this example, what points from the play Hamlet might you use to discuss the topic that will exemplify your main idea? For example, in Hamlet, thoughts of suicide, the nature of death, and the difficulty of life. And yes, these are real issues in Hamlet, by the way. The last thing is the qualifier. Sometimes, though, you may want to express your thesis strongly. You may want to try to prove your point. One thing that we have to acknowledge is that we are not proving anything. This is not science. This is not math. When we write about literature, we can only show or suggest or demonstrate. We cannot typically prove things. So words like may or very likely or often are helpful in qualifying a thesis statement. So what do we have left? Well, here's our steps again. The first step is the topic, Hamlet. Next step, the claim. The to be or not to be soliloquy raises the moral problem of life and death. Support. Thoughts of suicide, the nature of death, and the difficulty of life. And the qualifier, may or very likely or often. So when we have it all finished up, it might look like this. In Hamlet, Hamlet's soliloquy that begins to be or not to be may be a contemplation on the moral problems of life and death as he entertains thoughts of suicide, considers the very nature of death, and frets over the difficulty of life. If you can combine all 4 of these key parts together, you're off to the races with a good thesis statement.